Hello, this is your Spanish professor speaking, and I'm going to run you through a brief Guía del Estudio, o Guía de Estudio, para los módulos 2 a 3, para nuestro curso Spanish 1002. As you can see, I'm in the Google Docs tool, and you get to this tool through your Google Mail by clicking on the icon on the upper left corner of the screen that I'm pointing to right now, and then simply going to File, New, and Presentation. So that's what I've done here. We're going to go to slide 1, Daily Lessons, Preparing for Class. And here I'm just explaining briefly, and I'll summarize, that when you arrive to class you should be ready to use the vocabulary that we have been using in class, in addition to any vocabulary highlighted for that day's lesson in the assignment or in the brief tutorial that I've prepared to get you ready for the day's class. Okay, I'm going to take you over right now to a presentation that I'm preparing for our next class, which is going to be on mandatos, commands. And as you can see here, I have a list of verbos related to the actions that diferentes jugadores en un equipo de fútbol play. Okay, those positions are defensa, delantero, portero, cabezazo, libero, extremo, árbitro, entrenador, espectadores, y el equipo, visitante y el equipo en casa. Good. The verbs we're going to use are specific ones. There's just 10 of them, and we'll be using those to form our commands. We're going to discuss different commands during a game of football. That's going to be the context of our lesson. So quickly to go through these, they're guardar, to guard or protect, un jugador, el gol or el portero, patear, to kick, el balón o la pelota, tirar, to throw. This is used in the phrases tiro libre or tiro penalti, and the list goes on. And that's just to give you a quick idea of what the vocabulary list will look like in the tutorial. Now, for the grammar, I will introduce a grammar concept to you at the end of class so that the video tutorial that you watch to prepare for class is intelligible and useful as a review of the concept. Please refer to the new videos I'm making, which I'm going to post on my blog, and use the animated tutorials as extra help and review if necessary. You'll watch the video, complete some exercises related to the concept, which we'll go over in class, or you'll turn in for grading. Please make sure that you watch the videos and complete these activities before class. This process should take you approximately 30 minutes in addition to the lab time that you'll be spending. Some days we'll have an in-class quiz over the grammar topic, which will be brief and meant to review your understanding of this information. The blog that you're keeping, and this is referring to your online laboratory work, to record your open lab work outside of class should focus on the research process for your final project. In other words, once your tribe has decided on the theme of their presentation, your lab time would be well used to explore websites and videos related to this topic. Dedicating the 1.5 hours per week to research should provide you with a host of ideas and information which will be useful to you and your tribe as they organize the material and prepare to present. I'd like for you to consider the blog a narration of this process, where you are able to explain what you found and why it's useful. This should be a simple task dedicated to layering cultural information or research and your own language skills using the new grammar and vocabulary. Here's an example with my project. What I did today was to go, I Google searched the term fútbol and found a page in Spanish that directed me to las reglas del fútbol. I also found a page that talked about the Copa Mundial, and let's see, this is the same page, I believe. Oh, a page dedicated to football itself, where I was able to find information about the player positions and their responsibilities. Good. So I'm going to keep going down here. So now we're really entering into how the daily lessons are related to your module project and presentation. And here I'd like to address the research process and method. As you collect and interpret your findings, you're welcome to organize this information however you like. I would recommend that you begin to make notes about the phraseology that you will use to share this information using the grammar concepts learned, when applicable. In other words, we've discussed indirect objects and direct objects, so we can now use that information to talk about the rules of play during the football game, perhaps what people do to prepare to go to the game as spectators, or maybe even what the goal of the arbitro or referee is. And I'm sorry, clicking around here. In other cases, you'll discover information that you may not yet be prepared to pull into sentences that compare and contrast, for example. We won't see comparisons for another couple of weeks, or for a week or so. However, you can already begin to organize information that describes what the game is like in the Spanish-speaking culture or what the traditions around it are like. In that case, simply organize your notes and use simple structures. We will continue to revise and build these sentences in class. So every sentence that you write in your notes, you should think of as the foundation for a sentence that you'll expand on in your project. B. I have scheduled in various days for a show and tell of your lab work. The objective of these sessions will be to share and explain your research and conclusions as you compile this information into notes for your presentation. On these days, you'll simply show a sample resource and tell us how you found the resource, process, why it's useful, synthesis, and what conclusions you have drawn about the theme based on this information. Here's my example. Okay, so in Google search, escribí fútbol. No? And as you can see, there's a variety of terms that come up here, no? So I went ahead and just went with el fútbol y salió esta página, no? Fútbol, soccer, el fútbol, del inglés fútbol, etc., ¿no? Esta página explica las reglas del juego, la historia del fútbol, la posición de los jugadores, ¿no? Incluso el guardameta, la defensa, el centrocampista, información sobre la actividad física y el salud de los jugadores, a find I didn't really expect. Pase, ¿no? Descripción de los pases, y tiro, ¿no? Descripción de las ocasiones cuando los jugadores tiren la pelota. Usually they'll kick it, but in some cases they throw. So as you can see, there's a variety of information available to you and showing a little bit of how you found some of your information that you'll use for your presentation will help all of us. C. Lastly, remember that your lab, presentation, and project should be 3 parts of the process of researching information, organizing that information in Spanish, and synthesizing, preparing the organized information as a presentation and project. The notes that you make for the presentation will be the outline for your own individual project or essay. So as you're making your project notes for your presentation that you'll keep on your blog and use with your group, remember that you're already making an outline or you're documenting what you're going to be saying in your final project. So that's part of the process, the first step. As far as resources are concerned, dictionaries and other online tools, there's a wide variety of dictionaries on the internet, and I'm just going to show you real quick my preferred dictionary. It's www.wordreference.com. Now in this dictionary, oops, I misspelled it. In this dictionary, you simply type in a word in English or Spanish, and it will lead you to a definition. So for example, I put in the word soccer, and it gives me the word fútbol, no? And in Mexican, Spanish, or it says, okay, America Central, Mexico, and then fútbol without an accent mark on it. So as you can see, there's 2 different ways of spelling it. We also have fútbol europeo, their nota en fútbol, no? So there's more information that you can access through this particular website. You also have words related to the game. Soccer ball or football is balón de fútbol. In Argentina, they call it a pelota as well. The soccer field is campo de fútbol. It is referred to as a cancha de fútbol in some cases. Okay, a soccer game is a partido. A soccer player is a futbolista or jugador de fútbol. So that's my preferred dictionary use. It's far superior to a translator as a means of taking yourself through the process of expressing your ideas. In other words, once you get to this page, you're provided information that you then have to think about how you're putting it into the sentence. Every time that you reflect on the syntactic organization of words and grammatical accuracy, you're learning to make decisions and recognize patterning in the language, which is the ultimate goal of this introductory course. If you can identify the patterns, you'll be able to remember some of the vocabulary and grammar concepts and make those choices as you go along. As complex as your research may be, the expression of your ideas and information should remain within the parameters of the 1002 grammar. So more or less, we want to keep it to focusing on the concepts we're learning in class. A strong foundation in this material will provide you with basic language tools that you can use to speak and learn more Spanish. And as we've seen with the travel unit, we've gotten quite far already through this particular methodology. Resources. Using Google search, Wikipedia, or YouTube is an excellent way to begin your research process. For example, Google search a key term in Spanish for web pages and ideas that you can use to lead you to the information that you need to present. If you need any help digesting this information, I would be happy to help. Watch the video of my research for this Module 2 presentation and project for an example of this method. So what I'm going to do really quickly is take you guys over to YouTube, and I'm just going to show you how I use keyword search in that tool. The other option is, of course, to go to football, and here I'll open up another tab. And when your search comes up, go to videos, if you wanted to see videos. And this one says Fútbol cagada, grandes cagaritas del fútbol. So these are mistakes or errors that players have made. So obviously a little video review of that. Fútbol de risa, laughing. There's a lot of different, looks like the funny videos come up first. Now let's go to YouTube and put that term in there. Good, so we have Fútbol Mexicano, Fútbol Callejero. I'm going to be focusing on Fútbol Mexicano for my presentation. So I'm going to look at some of these different options that I have here. Horrores del Fútbol Mexicano, América versus Chivas de Guadalajara. I'm going to go to that one because I'm interested in this team, Las Chivas, the Goats. And I can kind of zip through this video and see what it's going to show me. It's 5 minutes. And it's basically the narration of a game. So it looks interesting, but I'm going to go back to it later because I'm going to continue right now with my presentation with you guys. But those are a couple of ways of finding some videos or information, and obviously we're talking about pieces of information that are useful and not being absolute experts on the topic. As we find more information, we'll learn what to use and what to exclude. Final presentation and submission. So towards the end of the module, you should feel ready to present on your topic. As you meet and organize the presentation with your group, you should have the following work completed and ready to compile, organize, and synthesize. Number 1, sentences that describe the sport considered a national pastime in the target Spanish-speaking culture and in the United States. Number 2, images and videos that support your findings and highlight relevant points or examples. Number 3, notes organized into the categories of topics that your presentation will cover. They are not infinite, and the presentation time is rather short. Therefore, you should bring your contributions to the group meeting where the members will discuss and decide what information to include and how. And finally, I want to remind you that the presentation is the project. The group presentation should be considered an outline of what you will write about in your project. In order to stay on task throughout the module, I've identified key dates, and you'll submit some information or sentences to me on those days. Therefore, the final presentation and submission of your module project should take a reasonable amount of time to prepare, as you're simply organizing relevant points into an essay in paragraphs. I wish you the best of luck, and remember, work smart, not hard. A reasonable amount of time spent on these daily tasks will make the final project revision and submission an easily accomplished task. And finally, I want to say one more thing to you guys, which is I will be going through these processes with you. In other words, voy a preparar el mismo, the same, proyecto y compartir mi información y presentar sobre el fútbol en México. And as an added treat, I've also started to collect some items related to sports fandom in Mexican football. So I think that that will make this process a little more reasonable, smooth, and at least you guys will feel like you have some company as we go through it. And when we do our brief presentations in class and keep each other posted, we will all be on the same page. Okay, thanks. Good night.